but the infrared sensor on my TV doesn't work.
Oh,
so
really?
I can't turn the TV on and off or do anything with the volume with the remote. I have to go over and do it on the TV, and it's a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah, I'd imagine that would be.
Yeah. All right. Da, na, 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 na. Hi, everybody. I have to actually go turn that light on, so I'll be right back.
Leave it to Adam. Typical. I'm going to start the show. I'm going to leave you sitting here, and then I'm going to walk the fuck off and leave you to vamp for 10 minutes. Typical Adam.
I walked 3 feet in that direction. Relax.
Meanwhile, he'll time travel back and forget it ever happened.
I do have my sonic screwdriver, so.
There you go.
I don't know that anybody else is coming or not, so.
Ah, damn it.
That was startlingly loud.
Well, 1 run scores at least. Yeah, my cat just ran across the house.
I don't know, you got a cat?
Yeah. Remy.
It's a good name for a cat. We got 4 cats in this house. Surprisingly, none of them are over here right now. Oh, wait. No, there's one. My microphone's in the way.
Yeah, we named ours after Jerry Remy.
There he is. There he is.
He's not going to eat the snake, right?
No, the snakes are over here.
Okay. Well, yeah, because the cat couldn't possibly walk across the room.
They're in fucking tanks. Relax. Snakes are fine.
Join us next week for another edition of Cribs.
Yeah. Look at this pretty picture up here. Look at this pretty picture up here. Oh,
come on, Mookie, take this motherfucker out.
And then that's my little boy right there, except you can't see him. But that's bald old me and the cute little wife.
There you go.
What, you still don't have time to print out pictures? You put up another t-shirt?
I was actually working today. It was crazy.
The funny thing is, I have no idea what you do for work outside of wrestling.
Really?
No.
Huh. Well, I'll be like Barney on How I Met Your Mother.
There you go. There you go. Please.
Exactly.
Okay. Doesn't seem like anyone else is joining us. Because nobody's responding to me on our text message, of course.
I don't see anybody in our chat either.
Not yet. But that may change. I should go back and read the host text during SmackDown. Let's see actually what the fuck you guys talked about. Because
Wait, you didn't time travel back and participate?
Because I don't know what this Luke Harper thing is. Dana Brooke naked pictures. Further back. Talking about how you and Sal were at Good Time for pay-per-views probably at the same time.
I never went there for pay-per-views.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I had a friend who ordered all the pay-per-views, and we just went over to his house and watched them for free.
Yeah.
But Sal said he was from Somerville, and I said that's where I grew up.
Yep. We started at the Hooters in Boston when we were in college. Co-ghost Sean and I. And just say, hey, there's
Speaking of which,
speak of the devil. Co-ghost Sean right there. We started at the Hooters until we got kicked out of the Hooters, and then we went to Good Time.
I never did my lower third.
Nope.
Come on. Come on, bitch tits. Jesus Christ. There we go. Let's click on the wrong fucking thing.
Well, I'll stop doing that.
Oop, fumble. We're...
All right, let's see here. There's all kinds of stuff. Thank you for sending me that David Otunga picture. It's a creepy motherfucker. Okay.
Oh yeah.
David Otunga. That was a good opening segment. I did read the award-winning 3 Up, 3 Down this week. I have not read I did not read the power rankings.
Oh, okay.
But all right. So nobody else is coming. So you ready to go?
Let's do it.
Every Tuesday, you won't be able to get Jack off. All right. Let me go back to the voicemails. There we are.
Look at my YouTube chat. There we go.
Yeah. It's just so we have 2 viewers, but it's just when I'm thinking one of them is probably you if you've got the YouTube up.
No, I think the other one's probably Jackson would be my guess.
But we've got Co-Ghost Sean in the chat, so yeah. Maybe Sal will probably show up. But with that said, if you're ready,
yep,
then we shall begin. This is 263.
Not according to the link you put on YouTube. It says 262.
Fuck. God damn it. I gotta fix that. I did. God damn it, I did put 262, didn't I? Motherfucker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna fix that. I'll fix it later. No, I'll fix it now because it's gonna bother the shit out of me.
Dude, we gotta start the show. Fucking fix it. Because Troy's gonna show up and we're gonna spend an extra 2 hours. We're gonna be like cruising along nice. I listened back 40 minutes in. We were through Raw. We were just about done with SmackDown.
We hit 39 minutes. We're doing really well, and all of a sudden,
Troy shows up and
edit. 263. Save changes. There we go. See, that was simple. All right. This is 263.
Are you sure?
Yes. I have the wrong windows up over here.
Did you time travel back to last week and it was 262 again?
I did kind of want to redo last week's episode over again. I'll tell you that much. 263 in 3, 2, 1, record. More likely to successfully perform a Vader bomb than the Big Show. This is episode 263 of The Rundown. Play the theme song.
You've just lost all energy for going, theme song!
That's because I know you're going to do it. All right. I got a good beat in the static in my headphones. Good evening, everybody. Hello, everybody. My name is Adam. I'm your host. It is Thursday, September 15th, 2016. We are 1 day removed from the finale of the Cruiserweight Classic. What an amazing finale it was. But first, Jason, if I may.
How about that? You may do whatever you want. Go ahead.
How about that CM Punk fight, huh?
Do you want me to get going now?
How about that CM Punk fight, huh?
You want me to do this right now?
Sure.
Fuck CM Punk.
We're going to start the show off on a high note.
I got into this with a couple people who are still fans of his that I know, and that's fine. You know, like who you like. I don't care. I'm not going to sit here and tell you who you can and can't cheer for. That said, he's an asshole. He's a prick to everybody, and how you treat people should still matter. And it matters to me, and I think he's a douche, and I rooted against him, and I was happy to see what happened. Now, here is to me the ultimate. I got to fix this camera. I'm way off to the side. Here is to me the ultimate irony in what happened, and the thing that makes me even happier. He got knocked the fuck out.
He didn't get knocked out. He tapped out.
Pretty much got knocked the fuck out. He was pretty much out of it. Anyway, so do you remember one of his, I'm sure you listened to the Colt Cabana podcast with them at this point. Everybody's pretty much heard it, right?
You forget who you're talking to.
You never listened to the CM Punk on Colt Cabana podcast where he goes through all of his grievances?
I'll get there.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. In any event, to summarize, it was bitch, 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 cry, cry, cry. I want to be focused on me, focus on me, focus on me. Anyway. But yeah, so his biggest gripe, pretty much the thing he keeps going back to in this podcast in terms of his dissatisfaction, is that he continuously is forced to work with guys who are not regulars who are part-timers who are coming in for this one deal and who are getting paid more than him, and constantly says things like, oh, well, if I'm as big a deal as they are, then pay me the same amount you're paying The Rock. So CM Punk, who's never had an MMA fight before, draws a main card match for which he was the second highest paid guy on the card, $100,000, and only, I'm sorry, third highest paid guy on the card, only $100,000 behind the UFC heavyweight champion. So when CM Punk is the guy getting the main spot that he doesn't deserve and getting paid more than the guys who bust their ass on a regular basis, he's fine with it then. Fuck CM Punk. Hashtag forced anal.
Always comes back to forced anal.
Doesn't it always, though?
.tumblr.com. Hi, Puddin. Puddin's on the side. Says, what up, homie? What up? I know who that is. I will give him I will give him respect. I don't have a hatred.
Respect for what? He spent 2 goddamn years training and couldn't last 2 goddamn minutes.
It's 2 minutes and 14 seconds longer than I would ever last in the octagon, so I'll give him that.
Sure. Well, no. If you were in 2 years worth of training.
Well, didn't he have to have surgery during that at some point? He had some surgery. Anyways.
That's okay. Keep going. CM Punk loves it when people make excuse for his assholeness.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed. I left. I stayed at Buffalo Wild Wings until that fight, and then I went home and went to bed because it was fucking 11:30 at that point, whatever time it was.
Who I will give credit to is Stipe Miocic, because that guy kicked ass in the main event.
Yeah, I didn't stay for the main event.
You're such a mark, Adam.
I have never.
Wrestling guy's done fighting. I'm done.
I've never denied that.
I don't want to expose myself to anything outside my comfort zone. Just wrestler guy, and then I'm out. Peace.
Never denied that. We also have Jackson on the side as well.
Yeah, I got them both. See? He doesn't like CM Punk either.
Well, he learned it from you, all right? He learned it from watching you.
Hey. Could get some of my best qualities. What can I say?
All right, let's kick right into the voicemail.
Hey guys, it's Sal.
Oops, I hit play too early.
Into the rundown. Give you a quick little overview of my thoughts on Backlash. Now, I know that you can't really analyze Backlash until you see what happens this week on SmackDown, but let's take it separate from what they end up playing out on SmackDown. I will say I thought the pay-per-view was above average. I thought there was some good wrestling, some good matches, some good storytelling. There was also some really crappy booking decisions, which, that seems to be par for the course these days. I will say this, that AJ Styles is the only man that has now held the WWE World Championship, the NWA World Championship, the TNA World Championship, the IWGP World Championship, and, hey, Kurt Angle, this is where we got you beat, the Ring of Honor World Championship. No one else has done that. So it is amazing that AJ has won the WWE title. I thought the match was great. I thought it went 20 minutes, and I thought it was pretty exciting. I think the rematch will be even better. Because obviously Dean's going to get his rematch. I say let him go in a friggin' street fight. Let him go. Let them go for like a half an hour. Let's get it crazy. Obviously, I think AJ should keep the title at this point, but he needs something to do until John Cena gets back. Which is obviously where they're going once John Cena gets back.
How about that?
As far as the rest of the card goes, I think I like the new Usos. I like the new attitude. I like the new look. They need new music and a new Titantron. They'll be all set after that. Congrats to Becky Lynch. God knows how many years in the making to become the WWE Women's Champion. The SmackDown version, blue belt only. And really hate creative for what they put Bray Wyatt through last night. I thought it was 100% garbage. This guy could be a top guy, and SmackDown needs top guys. But they keep fucking it up. Even Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews had a great match, but nobody would know about it because they're stuck on the pre-show with no storyline. So, I don't know. They got a lot of work to do creatively, but not bad for considering how thin the roster is. Talk to you guys next week.
I like how he says talk to you guys next week, even though he left us like 4 other voicemails. Backlash. On my my column, I gave it garnered a B- on making grade on questendnetwork.com.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the show?
It was good.
Thank you for your insight. It was.
Well, I'm saving time, so when Troy shows up, we can throw that extra hour and a half on at the end. I figured I would. No, I thought it was a good show. I enjoyed it for what it was. It obviously highlighted several of the holes in the roster. I didn't, my thoughts on the tag team title situation, I think at this point are well documented. I don't need to go into that again. Right. I think it was just booked poorly. I think to have that first big pay-per-view without one of your most exciting young talent in terms of American Alpha was a mistake, personally.
Yeah, we talked about it. I mean, we covered your thoughts on that last week.
I loved, I agree with Sal. I love the Usos changing up the look. I don't have a problem with the theme song. I actually think they got a pretty cool theme song. I like it. I don't mind if it sticks around, and it can work.
They can keep the theme song, but they at least need to change the little Titantron video.
Play hard in the paint when they don't wear paint anymore.
And the face, the face paint on the stage and whatnot.
Yeah. The one thing I will say in relates to the Usos, and we're going to talk about them later on SmackDown, and this is more of a SmackDown thing, but since we're talking about them, I'll throw it in now.
Sure.
I loved the outfits on Backlash. I wasn't as crazy about the outfits on SmackDown, only because I think those bright red sneakers were too much of a callback to the neon colors, and I would have separated entirely from that. I would have stuck with like the black and the white, and got rid of any bright colors for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I also like the new look Usos. Again, we're on the same page where I wish they had gone about this in a different manner, and you could have had that heel turn happen at Backlash in the finals, and not had American Alpha off the card. But then, of course, you wouldn't have had Slino win the WWE SmackDown Tag Team Championships as Jason buries his head in his desk.
It's a bar, actually, but not really a desk.
I like that you record the show from your home bar.
Yeah, well,
it adds character.
It doesn't it? I thought so.
But yeah, I appreciated Heath Slater finally. I shouldn't say finally winning a title because he's actually held both versions of that tag team championship belt now. And I did appreciate him screaming, "Beulah, we're getting a double wide." I enjoyed that myself. But anyway, we opened with the 6-pack challenge. I know everyone on this show thought that it was. Or maybe somebody picked Becky, but I don't think I picked Becky. I honestly don't remember.
Troy picked Becky.
Troy picked Becky. So, and it came down. I was certainly surprised at how Nikki Bella got eliminated, and that the final 2 were Becky and Carmella. I guess they are really trying to push Carmella to the moon. And Becky Lynch is your first ever SmackDown Women's Championship.
Yeah,
or champion.
She's not a Raw woman. We know that. Yeah. So yeah, no, I enjoyed the match. I thought it was really good. It was probably the second best match on the card in terms of enjoyment for me.
The only real issue I had with it is that there were 6 women in the match. For a match with 6 people in it, there was far too much one-on-one stuff in the ring.
That's typically how these multi-person matches go.
I know, and it annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me at this point anymore.
And that sequence where everybody just insisted on throwing everyone else to the floor instead of actually doing things in the ring to try and eliminate someone. Like, oh, I'm going to throw you on the floor. Oh, well, I'm going to throw you on the floor. Oh, well, I'm going to throw you on the floor. Also, whoever it was, if it was Naomi or whomever could jump on everybody all at once. But
yeah, 2 things about that match to me really stood out. One, I think Alexa Bliss had probably her best in-ring match that I've seen her have.
Yes, I'll agree with that.
I thought she was tremendous. I love the look, the new Harley Quinn inspired look of Alexa Bliss.
I was very happy to see that she kept that on SmackDown as well. It wasn't just a pay-per-view thing.
Yeah. And I think Naomi needs to try a little less.
Okay.
I think she's very ambitious with some of this stuff and tends to do okay with the more ambitious stuff and then at the expense of the more elementary stuff. When she attempted to skin the cat, that was brutal and painful and hard to watch and uncomfortable. But, all things considered, I don't like the poo hole plunge that she does.
Nope. We've complained about that on this show since she started doing it.
But, it is what it is.
Naomi and her ass-based offense.
Yes. Well, I mean, Asuka's doing it too, which is the really kind of weird part. But other than that, I thought it was a really good match. It was way better than I had anticipated going in.
Sure.
And I was pleasantly surprised with the outcome. I don't know how long Becky is a viable champion, only because I think she's so much better as the underdog, kind of chasing the champion. And as long as she doesn't have to cut promos, that was the other downside.
I was just going to mention that you mentioned you had her mic skills in your 3 down this week on SmackDown.
Yeah. Not a huge. I'm not quite sure she's ready for prime time in terms of promos, but there's still room to grow. But in terms of in the ring, obviously she's the best one on the roster, so she got reported with the first title. And it's fitting to see. It's nice to see when they start the lineage of a title with a credible champion that when you look back at the record books and go, who was the first champion? It's going to be somebody with a reputation and some gravitas and somebody you can look at and say, well, that was somebody who was really good. That's a good way to start off a championship.
Speaking of which, the next match was the Second Chance Challenge. We've already talked about the Usos. The only other thing I want to point out from that match was whichever Uso was in the vest, if it was Jimmy or Jay, there was a one second when Mojo Rawley was in the ring doing his stupid Mojo Rawley shit, and the Uso wearing the vest was on the apron and just looking at him like, you are the dumbest fucking person on the planet. I enjoyed that.
I didn't catch that one, so I can't speak to it.
And Zack Ryder's trunks said Zack Down Live, which I appreciated, but they should have been blue. If it was Zack Down Live, they should have been blue, not red.
Well, he wore the same thing in a different color this week, so he probably just bought a bunch of them.
Okay. I don't think he has to pay for them. Mikaze probably made them for him.
I don't know. Mr. Sasha Banks, as it were.
Yes, exactly.
Does he work SmackDown, or do they have a different one on?
I don't know.
You should find these things out before you throw them out there as though they're fact. You should time travel back to before you said that and not say it unless you know.
Then we had our Intercontinental Championship match. Decent. I think. I thought it was a good match. I enjoyed these two guys fighting each other. The ending with Maurice spraying something in Dolph Ziggler. I don't want to know where she was hiding that bottle during the match. I really don't. But
I do.
But
and
yeah,
in fact, if we need somebody to go in there and frisk Maurice before the matches just to make sure everything stays on the up and up,
you volunteer?
Well, my wife's on the side here, so I probably shouldn't volunteer. But I know some people who would volunteer for that. I'm just saying.
Speaking of Kogo, Sean says Ryder's trunks should have said Zacklash. You'd think. Oh well. So yeah, Miz retains the Intercontinental Championship and then demands to renegotiate his contract. And then the next episode of SmackDown 2 nights later refuses to defend.
Hey, we haven't gotten to SmackDown yet.
All right. I was just trying to tell the whole story.
Stay sequential.
All right.
Yeah, I thought it was a really good match. Very, very impressed with. Obviously, the ring work between the two has never been in question. They're both good in the ring. They both have tremendous ability to work together, as we've seen time and time again, to put on a top-notch match. I just think the build didn't quite do it. I think it was kind of like getting to the finish of a movie and the beginning sucked, so you don't really quite care about where the characters end up.
Okay. Like that WWE films The Call.
I wouldn't know. I haven't watched that piece of shit.
It was terrible.
I bet it was.
I watched
it. You had me in terms of piece of shit at WWE Films.
For long-time listeners, remember way back when that movie came out, I did a mini-sode that was a review episode of what the fuck was Wade Barrett's movie called? Dead Man Down? Is that what it's called? Dead Man Down and The Call, because I saw them both on the same day. Because when I purchased my tickets to Dead Man Down, I got a free movie ticket with my Regal card, and so I used that to watch The Call. So I didn't pay to watch The Call. So that was, I guess, one good thing. But anyway, then we had Kane versus Bray.
I like stories. Okay, sorry.
I really wanted a catcher's mitt. My dad said I couldn't have one, so I held my breath until I passed out and banged my head on the coffee table. The doctors thought I might have brain damage. Dad, what's the point of this story? I like stories. Kane versus Bray Wyatt.
How did you feel about this one, Adam?
I was not a fan because Kane should not be defeating Bray Wyatt. And,
on the level of hate, would you put that between the tag team title tournament and CM Punk on that scale?
On your scale, maybe. Yeah, I was not a fan of that. Was not a fan of Bray losing. Bray Wyatt should not be defeated by Kane in 2016.
Why?
Because I want them to do things with Bray Wyatt. God damn it!
Oh, so you're okay? Because you're being a mark.
I just said that I have never denied that. All right. I just said that 5 minutes ago.
They set it up in a perfectly fine way. I mean, I have no problem. Orton came out. It furthers the feud. I mean, realistically, when you think about it, what good does it do in a feud to have him go over on Kane? So, yeah, congratulations. You beat a guy who's a part-timer who doesn't really work, is twice your age, and, man, great. Good job. Does that make him look any better? I mean, at least this way they furthered the storyline that's actually going on since Randy Orton couldn't wrestle, until 2 days later. But here's the weird part, right?
Your son just wants to know how one can stay hyped. During Backlash, I tweeted cocaine.
Yes. That was part of the Confused Adam meme that goes on through our host threads, which is amazing. But I made me completely lose my train of thought here, Adam. Jesus Christ!
If you want to see the base photo for the Confused Adam meme, go to I think it's one of Troy's columns on QuestNetwork.com. He has that picture as the opponent for TJ Perkins for this Cruiserweight Championship at Clash of Champions, because they haven't announced who's going to fight for the Cruiserweight Championship yet.
But yeah, so what are we talking? Kane and Bray Wyatt. I found it a little strange that when you're sitting here saying that he's in the concussion protocol, can't get cleared to wrestle, yet he goes out and does the RKO. And I'm wondering if the doctors are aware that you're pretty much taking a bump to deliver an RKO. You're going all the way down from the air, and your head's going to jostle around, which would seem to be something you wouldn't want to do if you're in the concussion protocol.
And then again, didn't he do it at a house show? Didn't he have the same thing at a house show too on Monday?
Yeah, he worked a tag match but took no bumps, was what I heard. But also,
I heard took no bumps but delivered an RKO.
Yeah.
Random jobbers backstage was the next confusing part. I literally tweeted, "Who the fuck are those guys and why are they here?"
No. Moreover, creepier and weirder, sweaty random jobbers. Who now we've been watching the show for an hour at this point, and they haven't wrestled on the show. But an hour into it, even if they did a dark match, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. An hour into it, they're still standing around shirtless and sweaty in the back.
I feel like that's the name of your autobiography.
Shirtless and sweaty in the back?
Yeah.
Always sweaty in the back, son.
Yeah, just weird.
Hashtag swass. And there's the name of this week's show.
It might be. So then we had our SmackDown Tag Team Championship match. Previously in the night, we had a promo featuring Renee Young and Slino, and we got the
Stop calling them that.
hilarious segment where Heath Slater admitted to having the runs, and then because he didn't realize he was still on camera, you guys. And while I'm glad it did not happen, I'm incredibly glad it did not happen. I don't know why they would make that joke if it wasn't going to play into the match later. Like, so, okay, so, haha, Heath has diarrhea. Vince joke.
No, that's exactly where it was.
Tell him you're going to shit your pants.
He laughed so hard he tore his quad.
He did, in fact, tear his quads. That is a true story.
Doing squats, and my favorite part of that was the press release. Did you see that?
I didn't see the press release.
There's a press release, and you could almost see Vince McMahon sitting there, like dictating it to the person. He tore his quad while doing heavy squats, but rest assured, he'll be back in the office Monday as usual.
Yeah, that's the only part. That's the only part I had was just that quote. We'll be back in the office at WB headquarters on Wednesday as usual.
Translation, motherfuckers don't even think of slacking because I'm gonna be in the office.
He actually, all the reports I read though actually was he wasn't at Backlash. He wasn't at Backlash. Wasn't at Raw. Wasn't at SmackDown.
From what I understand, he's kind of reduced his schedule in terms of the shows he's at. He's known to take, a handful of these shows off. Then again, so is the creative team. So there's that. I good luck, best of luck to Mr. McMahon in his recovery. It's rare. We know for a fact that he's torn his quad at least twice. Because
Sean just made that joke. Vince tore his quads. Was he sliding into the ring to yell at Cena and Batista?
One of the most awkward moments I think in wrestling history.
So great.
Oh, God, yeah.
I remember watching that.
I forget what year it was, but the Royal Rumble one.
I want to say 04.
Yeah, it was Batista and Cena, wasn't it?
It was the last two. Yeah. They fucked up the spot.
Did a double elimination spot similar
which they weren't supposed to do.
Right. Similar to a few years before when they did Bret Hart and Lex Luger. They both go over at the same time. Nobody knows who wins, yada, yada, yada. Vince McMahon comes storming down to the ring doing his Vince strut as he's wont to do, and tries over-emphatically to slide in the ring. And I don't even know how he did this, but on his way of sliding into the ring, managed to tear both quads.
Yeah.
Now, mind you, he's out here to do an angle and talk to the ref and yell at him and restart the thing. So he does it from sitting on his ass.
My favorite visual, possibly, it was, Sean's correcting us, it was 2005.
I said I didn't know what year, so he's correcting you, motherfucker.
That's right. 2004 was when nobody won. Big Show just fell out of the ring and there was no winner. Yeah, so my favorite visual of all time is Vince McMahon sitting in the ring with his back to the ropes, gesticulating wildly and yelling at the referees because Cena and Batista fucked up the final spot in the Royal Rumble.
Tonight's guest GM, Lieutenant Dan.
Nice. So then Slino win the SmackDown Tag Team Championships.
I think I blacked out during that point. So
I say it now. I just say it now because you hate it.
No, everything they did right in terms of who they chose for their first champion in the women's match, they did wrong in this one. And we've gone over it, and I'm not going to beat the dead horse. Like you said, the best thing I can say about this situation is that they didn't do the diarrhea angle.
Yes, exactly. They didn't do the diarrhea. And thank goodness for that.
Yeah. So we've now determined that the hype bros are shit. There's no.
Yeah, I enjoyed. I guess we could talk about it on SmackDown either, but I enjoy that. The same thing.
Hold on, Adam. We got to say goodnight to my son because he's going to bed. So good night, Jackson.
Good night, Jackson.
Daddy loves you.
Maybe.
And Maurice, if you're watching, Daddy loves you too.
All right, now that your son's gone, fuck. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Were we supposed to wait till he went to bed for that?
Yeah, it's in my lower third. It's in your lower third. Who cares? Okay. Then, following the tag team championship match, we had the WWE World Championship match: Dean Ambrose versus AJ Styles.
This is really a kind of a one-match show. I mean, we had the title matches where we were going to fill, but I think really,
Because your wife says, "That's it, divorce papers for our anniversary, fucker."
can you tell why we get along so well, Adam? Yeah, so I think really when you talk about the match, that really the only reason people were really tuning into this was to see this match with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose.
And boy, did it pay off.
Yeah, it's a good match.
Yeah. And AJ Styles is the motherfucking WWE World Champion.
Yeah, I mean, he kicked him in the dick to do it, which is, I don't have a problem with it. It's a heel move.
Yeah.
But it's a less than, celebratory moment for your first title win, but, it's what heels do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there were a lot of people on the internet who were pissed off that that's how he won the title. And I'm kind of like, did you watch the build to the storyline, fuckers?
Yeah. Did you watch the rest of the match? The rest of the match was great. Sean wants to know if the impact of that divorce announcement will send you into a wheelchair-bound coma.
If it means I'm getting lap dances from Trish Stratus, we can talk about it.
Oh, Linda. Oh, Linda. The only couple notes that I had from the title match, other than how good the match itself was Dean Ambrose needed to really decide whether or not he was going to sell that knee injury. And David Otunga with the call of the night, really, on the replay of the springboard.
As David Otunga is wont to do.
The springboard 450 on the Dean Ambrose saying the call of the night. Wow, rotation. Thanks, David. Thank you very much for that. So glad you're here. Anyway.
And Sean made reference to once I come out of that coma, we'll get one of the biggest pops of all time. I assume he's referencing again the lap dance from Trish Stratus.
Exactly.
Hashtag pop shots. Yeah, I thought it was a good match. Here's the interesting thing, and I know where I come on. I know where I stand on this particular one, so let me run it by you. Rank in order the following matches, and you can pick either one of the multiples if you want.
Okay.
Styles and Reigns, Styles and Cena, Styles and Ambrose.
Well, Styles and Cena's first, definitely.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I have to remember back to Styles versus Reigns. It's been a little while, but I know where you're going with this.
Yeah. I mean, it was fine for what it was. It was just Dean isn't on the caliber of those other guys in terms of in the ring. So the match wasn't quite as good as those other ones, which is why I wasn't as over the moon about it as everybody else was. It was perfectly fine. I mean, There was nothing inherently bad about it. Just AJ's had a lot better matches. And, the ending kind of saved it, made it a good... I will say, and we'll get into SmackDown later, I very much enjoyed what they did with Dean on SmackDown.
Yes, 100%. Agree 100% on that.
But now let's get to Raw.
Wow, rotation.
I'm trying to keep this moving because you never know when Troy's going to show up.
Now,
overall, I probably agree with your sentiment. I think Backlash was probably a B-, which is really good for a single-branded show with a small roster for their first time out. There are some things I would have done differently. Obviously, tag team tournament being the most prevalent amongst them.
Yeah, glaring among them.
Yeah. But all in all things considered, with what they were working with, I think it was a good, solid show.
Yeah, good job, SmackDown. We'll see how Clash of the Champions is next weekend. Well, 2 weeks.
Hey guys, it's Sal, and I'm calling this week to talk about Monday Night Raw. I know it's a shocker, but Raw was pretty good. See, the problem with Raw, the 3-hour format, it leaves a lot of room for error. So you have some really good points, and you have some really bad points. I think that's been consistently the case. But here's what I want to start out with. I thought the Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match was pay-per-view quality. It had a lot of different elements in it. Obviously, it had, Seth coming out and interrupting that, Foley coming out after that. But then you got to restart the match. It was a really, it felt like a big-time match. I think I got to give credit where credit is due. Jason is the one who first said that Rusev would show up and cost Reigns the match, and that's exactly what Rusev did, and I think it works out perfectly because Rusev needs an appointment for Clash of Champions, and Kevin Owens needs to go one-on-one with Seth Rollins. So I think that works out fine. However, Mick Foley warned Seth Rollins that there will be consequences if he interferes in the match. He did interfere in the match. If you don't want to make Mick Foley's tenure as a GM a complete joke, there has to be consequences. Now, the problem is, what are those consequences going to be? You can't suspend him. He's got the match at Clash of Champions. Is he going to give him a kayfabe fine of like $100,000? I don't know, but they got to make sure that Mick does follow through. I almost feel like they're getting ready to do a double switch, that Mick is going to start turning heel while Seth continues to turn face. We'll have to see what happens.
Discussed that
as far as the rest of Raw, it was kind of par for the course. One of the best things for me was when Jack Swagger lost, and then it was revealed that his quote-unquote Raw contract was expiring, because I knew that mean he would be going to SmackDown. And I will talk about that at a later time, or maybe my cousin will, but I will say that I like the idea of Jack Swagger on the blue brand. And anything else on Raw? I like that they made the club real ass kickers again. Let's keep that going forward. And then maybe we'll have an interesting title match at Clash of Champions. Talk to you guys next week.
Yeah, the one thing was very clear to me watching Monday Night Raw this week. Do you know what it is?
What's that?
The creative team has clearly been keeping tabs on the Darwin Award-winning 3-up, 3-down column on the Quest End Network.
Yeah, this was kind of a reset week for Raw. Definitely, I would say. We opened with one of your least favorite segments on the show, and something it was there, but it was, I don't want to call it baffling, but it was a bit nonsensical, where it's decided that the women's championship contender is going to be decided in a triple threat match. We have Dana Brooke slap Charlotte for almost no reason whatsoever.
Well, Charlotte's been shitting on her for a while.
Yeah.
And continued to do so. And there were things about this segment I liked. I touched on it in my column. Charlotte is by far becoming one of the best on the mic on Raw. And I'm not talking just the women, I'm talking overall. The way she conveys her character in promos is tremendous and better than most of the guys do.
Okay.
Do you disagree with that?
She's fine.
Although I will say this, do you remember the movie Uncle Buck?
I don't know that I've ever seen Uncle Buck. I know of it.
Oh, this is a lady with a giant mole, and he has this line where he says, here's a quarter, go over a rat and all that thing off your face. And that's what I think of every time I see Charlotte. Like, very attractive girl, and that mole does not do any of her favors.
True.
But yeah, I thought that part of the segment was fine. Like I said, it felt like they were just, oh shit, we've got all this stuff, and the pay-per-view is 2 weeks away. Let's rush everything into one segment. So let's do the Dana on the cusp of turning on Charlotte, and then Charlotte physically assaults her, and Dana Brooke fights back, and Bayley and Sasha both think they should be the contenders, and now we got to have a match. And by the way, random triple threat will have Bayley take her first pin on the main roster. Well, Sasha's shoulders are down, but no one's going to mention that.
Yeah, definitely. Shoulders were definitely down. Should have done a double pin, and then Dana Brooke becomes the number one contender.
Oof, yeah, that would have been ugly.
Yeah, I mean, it was like I said, it was a decent match. The finish was a bit awkward, but
yeah, the work in the match was fine. I had no problems with that.
Now we're back to Sasha versus Charlotte at Clash of Champions.
Which is funny because it's a good thing they had advertised it and had those videos all running for the last week saying Sasha versus Charlotte. It's a good thing because if Sasha had lost that match, woo, Nelly.
Then we got Bo Dallas Bo Dallas is apparently the genius now. Lenny Poffo, right, reciting poetry before his matches. He doesn't read it off a scroll though, so he's missing that part of the equation. And he has a big sign. I don't know what you're doing.
Sorry. Good.
So that's the thing that happened. Bo beat up another guy. Then
Yeah, I've been completely unimpressed with this Bo Dallas repackaging.
Yeah.
I don't really get the point because they haven't told us what the point is.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, here's a jobber and here's Bo Dallas with a giant campaign sign. And he's just got a little more attitude now.
He's angry.
Just make him a fucking Wyatt. Can we just do that? And
then we get what might be the most confusing, most bizarre segment of the week. The Shining Stars are trying to sell R-Truth a timeshare in Puerto Rico.
did you buy it?
Because this somehow links into their feud with the Enzo and Cass. Just
Oh yeah, they're from Puerto Rico, and there's a lot of timeshares in Puerto Rico, so let's do that.
Yeah.
There's really no reason for that. I don't understand it.
I don't understand why R-Truth still has a job. So,
I mean, if you're going to do something with the Shining Stars, then do something with them. You know, I thought that's where we were headed last week when they got the victory. I thought we were moving towards something positive with them, and instead we're back to slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
And then spoiler alert. And spoiler alert, nobody is ever better off for doing slapstick.
Yeah. Club. Then we had Sami Zayn on the highlight reel.
Which I didn't like. I didn't mind much at all. I love Jericho's backstage promo leading into it too.
Yeah.
Stupid idiot.
Yeah. No, they had a good back and forth. Sami has a terrible haircut, but they had a good back and forth. Was not actually expecting Sami Zayn to say bitch when he called Jericho Owens bitch, but he did. And that leads to their match at Clash of Champions, which should be fun to watch. So
yeah, looking forward to that.
And my wife pointed out that the best part of this whole thing is Jericho and Owens constantly putting over the fact that Owens is the longest reigning Universal Champion of all time because the other guy only had it for a day. And Emily was like, but of course I'm like, that's the point. It's great. It's great.
But at least you remember there was another champion, unlike Stephanie.
McMahon. Yeah. Oh. Alicia Fox accidentally hitting Nia in the face with that box still makes me laugh. Have they ever done the barricade spot with the women before? Nia Jax put Alicia Fox through the barricade into the timekeeper's area. I don't remember them ever doing that spot with the women before, because the only other person I think of in the women's division who could have done that was Karma. I don't think they ever did that with her.
Not that I can recall, but I mean not that particular spot that I can recall. No.
Yeah. And I mean, that was the whole thing. But hey, at least we didn't have to have an Alicia Fox match. So there was that.
Yeah, again, I'm not a huge Alicia Fox fan. It's nice to see them at least sort of elevating the competition of Nia Jax past the single jobber at this point. I don't know that it's going to get us anywhere with her. I don't think it's improving her in the ring, but
right. It's like they're having Braun Strowman face Sin Cara. It's not going to do anything, but whatever. No, Sean, I didn't say hitting Nia Jax in the face with her box, with a box. There's a difference. And also Xavier Woods. So when we get the New Day on the New Day promo, Xavier Woods still saying WWE World Tag Team Champions, even though they've changed to the Raw Tag Team Champions, and they were never the WWE World Tag Team Champions. So now you're wrong on 2 counts. Whatever. You can say WWE Raw Tag Team Champions. It has the same cadence.
Why do you hate him so much?
I don't.
Clearly, you do. I mean,
I'm just a fan of the facts. And yes, your favorite part of Raw, the fact that the club seems to be over their comedy shtick and
thank
back
God.
to serious business.
And they can tell us a joke here or there too, and that's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But the old farts thing is gone. The lab coats are gone, and they're kind of back to just being the how they were with AJ was fine. That's all they need to do.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I enjoyed the first one, the very first one, ring postitis. I thought that was funny, and then it happened. And then it happened the next week, and I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, okay, the first week I'll give you again. I thought the dick jokes were funny the first week.
Yeah.
And then it just drags on and on and on and on.
Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, God. Old farts. Oh, fuck. All right. I have two here that I have no idea what they're referring to.
Well, and old farts, they were doing old farts, then they were younger than the guys that were calling them old farts.
Yeah, we talked about
Again,
that.
if they did that shtick with the Dudleys, it would have been fine.
Okay, and then Jack Swagger. We talked briefly about this whole Jack Swagger thing. Backstage, was it Phillips, I think, who runs up to Jack and goes, "No, the world's been talking about, your Raw contract is expiring." And then the next night he's on SmackDown. Like,
well,
okay, you're not
first of all, who in the fucking world was talking about it? Because I hadn't heard anything about it.
Yeah, that was part one. Part two is you're going to give us 1 day of build-up for this, and part three, which I hadn't even thought of, which Sean posted in the comments here, says, "Wait, Swagger's Raw contract expired? Did they sign him for 60 days?" Yeah, that whole thing is just if you wanted him on the other show, you should just fucking sign him to the other show.
Or
have a trade. Trades happen.
Motherfucker, are you wearing a CM Punk shirt, you asshole?
Yes.
I just noticed that. You dick. You did that especially for me, didn't you?
I didn't, actually, but it worked out nicely.
Fucking cunt. Anyway. But, yeah. If you're going to do this spot, and I don't have a problem with the spot where you switch guys from brand to brand, free agents, and his contract expires, and he's free to, but if you're going to do it, again, similar to the tag team titles, make the first one meaningful. Sami Zayn or Cesaro or somebody that can have an impact going over to SmackDown. Because we'll get to SmackDown and Jack Swagger later and all that stuff. But
Sean says Jack Swagger has been traded to SmackDown Live for a jobber to be named later.
But the promo on SmackDown left something to be desired.
Yeah. Is it a rib that they put Swagger on the show that has the S in the title?
I hadn't even thought of that, but
because they did it last time too, I think. Anyway,
well, he was a heavyweight champion then, so
that's true.
I'm a fan of Jack Swagger. When we did our mock draft, I actually took him in that mock draft because I think I can't realize the guy had a bad match in the ring. I thought he was.
I can't remember because he's had so few matches on the big two shows in the past year and a half or two.
Well, his matches with Rusev were always good, and then his matches with those other guys that didn't like America.
Something Titus O'Neil.
His series with Christian was good way back in the ECW days.
Yes.
Siri agrees with you.
I said his series, and she thought I said Hey Siri. That's kind. And I just turned it on again. Look at that. I gotta turn Hey Siri off before I do the show. Jeez. All right.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah. Then we had a tag match. I don't know the latest tag match in the series between the Enzo and Cass and the Shining Stars. This is what I tweeted. I said,
Was
Cass
it a tag match?
Was it?
I thought it was Enzo and singles.
Maybe it was.
I think it was. I think it was Enzo
versus Epico. You're right. Yes, it was. Was it Epico or Primo? Either way. I said, Cass is the Billy Gunn of this team. Enzo comes up with all the crazy shit. Cass says the same thing every week.
Doesn't matter. All those Puerto Ricans look the same to Adam anyway. That's what you just said, dude. I'm not. I mean, those were your words.
No, what I said is I don't remember.
I paraphrased, but those were your words. I mean,
That's not what that word means. Anyway.
Yeah. Again, no problem with the victory. I think it's good to serve to have them get big victories over high profile guys.
Ending was telegraphed as hell, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah, sure. But nobody gave birth in the middle of the ring this week. So
That's true.
That is an improvement from the previous week.
That's true. And also the stalling vertical suplex, Michael Cole says, all the blood rushing to his head. That's not how blood works, Michael, but I understand that it's a common misconception.
Yeah, that's an old school wrestling.
And then possibly the best part of the show, the backstage promo with Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins.
Yeah, it was really good. I thought they both brought their A game. Obviously, Kevin even more so. I liked it certainly better than the one with Mick. And Sal, I appreciate your slant that Mick is going to end up turning heel. I appreciated it even more when I said it 2 fucking weeks ago. Love you, Sal. Yeah, it's hard to have these conversations with Sal now that you've added him to our host thread. So now I know everything he thinks before the show starts. It kind of takes some of the allure off the voicemail segments, Adam, for me.
He asked to be included, and everybody said yes.
I think mostly everyone said, I don't know, fuck.
Exactly. Same thing. Same difference. But no, it was a great promo backstage. I liked the way they ended it with Mick Foley having to step in and cut Kevin Owens off.
Yeah.
And just go do your match. All right, just go do your match.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody amongst us that's ever had a problem with either one of these guys on a microphone. So you took 2 of the best guys on the mics you have on the roster, and you put them in a segment together, and you got a great promo. So yes. Not shocking at all, but it was entertaining to watch.
That's exactly what I said. What's that? Kevin Owens just cut an amazing promo? I refuse to believe that. So yes, then your main event, Kevin Owens versus Roman Reigns, if you're that one person in the crowd.
Maybe he could change his name legally to Ryback.
I was going to talk about that later. Jesus Christ.
Maybe Ryback Reigns.
Anyway. Yeah, the sign that said, I love Roman Reigns. Anyway.
Is that a sex act, maybe? I think we're assigning it to Roman Reigns, and it's not actually. It's just a guy saying he likes his asshole rinsed out.
All right. If Roman wins, he gets it's a triple threat at Clash of Champions. If Kevin wins, it's just a one-on-one against Seth. I really enjoyed the match. I thought they did a really great job with it.
Do you want to fill in our fans when that match was talked about at the beginning of the show? The text message you received in the host thread.
I posted it on Twitter, as a matter of fact. This is from Monday. It says, if it'll show up on the camera here, it says, today at 8:04 p.m., this is today being Monday, calling it now, Rusev's jumps Roman and costs him the match. So you're psychic, or you're the time traveler. Anyway.
No, just really good at predictions. Except in the Cruiserweight Classic.
And I sincerely appreciate they gave us a dusty finish, but didn't change the outcome. I enjoyed that immensely.
Yeah. Again, way too much Foley for my tastes on this show. Not that I have anything against Foley. It's just the authority figure role in general. Just way too much on Raw. SmackDown has them involved, but to very logical degrees. Mm-hmm. So Foley warns Seth, don't get involved. There will be consequences and repercussions.
Mm-hmm.
And then Seth gets involved.
Mm-hmm.
Foley doesn't take him out of the title match. He says, come on back, we're going to have a talk. And all I could picture...
We don't know what the repercussions are.
All I could picture was Foley putting Seth into timeout in the back.
Sit there and think about what you did.
Exactly. That's how it came across, as an angry dad chastising his child. And I know what that is like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't realize that. I didn't realize he was going to use the microphone, restart the match, what have you. So I enjoyed him coming out with a microphone and then not using the microphone, just screaming at Seth Rollins. But then, yes, he restarted the match. Kevin Owens still wins because Rusev came out to set up our
in
US.
full gear.
Yeah, of course.
Despite not having a match, Rusev comes running out in full gear.
Of course. You don't put on your gear as soon as you get to the show, whether you have a match or not?
Nope. I don't have matches, but
That's true.
I usually put on my gimmick about 5 minutes before I go out.
I give about half hour just so I can make sure I tie my tie correctly.
Yes. Because for those of you who don't know, Adam is a full-on bow tie guy.
Shit, yeah.
And ties them himself, which I find rather impressive.
I wear a bow tie now. Bow ties are cool.
Yeah.
All right. So that finishes up Raw.
Just don't say the bow nose because that's gimmick.
That's somebody else.
Yes.
We should see if he'll be on the show. Anyways. And that's now time for this voice mail.
Oh. Hey, how you doing? It's Tommy Malpasanti here, and I wanted to talk to you quickly about SmackDown. I gotta tell you, I think SmackDown was much better this week than it was last week. Maybe because they had just coming out of a pay-per-view. Like I said last week, I'm gonna watch the show after the pay-per-view because that's the good one, and then the build-up's gonna suck. But no, I liked the opening segment. I liked Cena and Ambrose kind of going at it a little bit chippy, I like Styles' involvement, kind of, but I feel like they should have made him more of a fucking badass in that segment. But all in all, it was a great segment. The triple threat is exciting just because there's a lot of different ways they can go, and you want to make sure that it's the way that everybody wants, which is keep the title on AJ Styles. The other thing on SmackDown, we got the Miz. He's trying to roll. He's refusing to defend his Intercontinental title, so he gets an extension and redoes his contract. I like that aspect of it because it's a little bit real. The whole redo my contract thing. You hear a lot of times sports stars hold out when they want to redo their contract. So that he's holding out basically, and I think that's kind of cool. And I personally love Jack Swagger on SmackDown. I think this guy, look, Jack Swagger won me over during that feud with Rusev a few years ago, or whatever it was, when he was fighting for the United States title, and the whole We the People thing, and da-da-da-da. I think Jack Swagger can be talented, and I think he can be useful on SmackDown. Y'all don't think so? Well, fuck yourself. How about that? I'll talk to you guys next week.
I like how the accent gradually just disappears throughout the voicemail. Yeah, SmackDown.
It's like a Lana promo.
We opened with an AJ Styles promo, which I thought was a good promo.
Strangely enough, I thought the worst part of the opening segment was AJ's promo. It was fine, but it just got so completely overshadowed by the other two guys that came out and got involved.
I did think he said the champ who runs the camp about 3 times too many.
Well, he's not.
And also the only thing I could think
he's not a good guy. He's not a bad guy. He's the guy who says the champ who runs the camp.
The only thing I could think of was Camp WWE. Sean wants everyone to know that his sources are telling him that Jackson has intentionally crapped the bed because you made him go to bed early instead of letting him watch the show. Your wife says that is not true, but he was whining.
Yeah, he had a rough night last night.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even because of the crap fest on NXT.
Fucking Troy. Anyway. Yeah, so Cena, AJ cuts his promo. Champ who runs the camp. 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 Champ who runs the camp.
Face that runs the place.
And then John Cena comes out, decides he's going to get to jump the line and get his WWE World Title shot immediately because he's John Cena. Goddammit!
Oh, you are such an asshole.
And then Dean Ambrose comes out and says, "Fuck you, that's my rematch." And not only did we get serious Dean Ambrose,
Yes.
we now have heel Dean Ambrose.
Or
slowly beginning to turn heel
edgy
Dean
Dean
Ambrose.
Ambrose.
But you can tell he's turning heel because he's wearing a black tank top.
No more crazy Uncle Dean. That's
Yeah.
which would be
Crazy Uncle Dean.
a vast improvement for me. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I thought it was an amazing segment. Actually, I loved the way Cena came out.
The only part about it was that John Cena called him brah. Just don't fucking do that. But anyways,
I loved Cena's line of "You have something that belongs to me, and I'm taking it back." And he throws the little wristband at him, and he says, "No, you still have something that belongs to me." And then they, because we're completely oblivious, they zoomed in on the belt. So for those of you at home who couldn't figure out that cryptic fucking message,
right?
But yeah, I thought that was brilliant. Right. Then I thought Dean came out, and that was great. And then Cena took offense to it, like, "Hey, I was here first."
Dean Ambrose tells him to go fuck himself.
Well, I thought that was great. I thought they both called each other out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
The one part that was weird to me was Ambrose at one point says something to the effect of, "You couldn't even beat this guy head to head. You lost to him 48 hours ago." Asshole.
Yeah. I noticed that. Your wife's.
And by the way, the match he had with him was far more entertaining and competitive than the one you had with him.
Your wife apparently just wants to see that all their dicks. Says they should have just whipped out their dicks and gotten it over with. Maurice, John Cena, whatever. To each their own.
The divorce papers are apparently in the mail, so she can see whoever's dick she wants, I guess.
It's your anniversary present.
Happy anniversary. Here's a dick.
Sean says, no, you still have something that belongs to me. No, not the belt. You borrowed my copy of the Marine 4, and I want it back. Yeah.
Now, that's bullshit because nobody bought the Marine 4.
Except the Miz.
It's only because he got a free copy.
Exactly.
Speaking of the Marine 4, where the fuck is Summer Rae?
She was at a fashion show this week. I saw that on Instagram.
That just occurred to me. You got limited talent in these women's divisions, and I'm not saying Summer Rae's, great shakes or anything, but shit, I mean, find fucking Timmy and get your ass to work.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's the McMahon comes out, Shane McMahon comes out, sets up a triple threat for the for Clash of Champions, and we'll see what happens there, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Triple threats are notoriously, weird in that one guy gets knocked out for an extended period of time, leaving it to be a one-on-one match, and they've been doing an awful lot of fatal four-ways and triple threats and all that stuff lately,
including a 5-pack challenge later on SmackDown.
But yeah, I have no problem with it. I'm kind of looking forward to it. And here's the thing, all joking about what Dean said aside, I think the reality is that I'm sorry, there's so much going on the side here. I'm getting sidetracked.
Yeah. Sean and your wife are arguing with each other, I think.
That's the thing that's going on right now. So yes, I think you have limited dates from Cena, as Ambrose kind of hinted on the part-time gimmick. He's going to be leaving to do his TV show. We all kind of know. So get as much out of Cena in terms of attention and press and eyes on the product as you can, and stick him in the main event in a triple threat with the other two most popular guys on the brand. So I have no problem with it. I think it's a good idea to utilize them.
If the taping schedule for American Grid is the same as last year, I think he's leaving right after Clash of Champions. So
yeah, is Cam coming back for season 2?
I don't think so.
Or is he too Cam to give a damn?
Something like that. Americam Grit.
Oh, well done. There you go.
I stole that from him. He has that on his trunk. He has that on his trunks now.
Oh, jeez. I haven't seen him in a while.
So then we get your favorite match of the night, the rematch
that make no sense to most people who are watching.
The rematch of the Second Chance Challenge. And that's what I said. So the same attack that put Chad Gable out for 2 to 4 weeks as Zack Ryder competing 2 nights later. They jobbed him out, the Hype Bros, again
for the 3rd time in 2 weeks.
Yep. and just so that the Usos could get more over his heels, I guess.
Do you think? Well, here I was going to say, do you think Naomi could come out with the Usos so her and Mojo Rawley could get into it? But here's an interesting thing, and it just occurred to me. Usos are faces when Naomi's a heel. Usos turn heel, Naomi turns face.
With those cool LED sunglasses.
I like her entrance in her sunglasses.
The sunglasses are pretty cool.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the entrance. I think it's it's gimmicky, but it gets your attention. It gets attention on her, and it's what a good entrance.
And then she can't wrestle.
I think it's just a little too elaborate, like it goes on too long.
Yeah.
Why don't you vamp for a minute? I gotta catch up on what's going on the side.
Yeah, Sean and your wife are talking about a porn featuring Dolph Ziggler for some reason. Sean said that one of us needs to review that movie. What's it called? Countdown with Dolph Ziggler and Lana, the one where they play detectives at a WWE event. Oh. I've complained about that on this show before. And your wife said they made a porn, so that's where we are. Also, your wife says that my wife should join in the fun. She doesn't. I think she's asleep at this point. So.
My wife is turning into a self-loathing wrestling fan. Actually, she has to watch the shows every week. So she's like, at one point, she said to me 2 weeks ago, she's like, "I fucking hate myself that I'm watching this, but I hate myself even more that I have an opinion on it." So,
get a podcast.
Any asshole can do it.
Exactly. I'm gonna tell the Kingpin that you call him an asshole. So that match happened. Then they've been building up Kurt Hawkins.
Can I just interrupt 1 second, Adam?
Sure.
I would like to set up for both my wife and Sean to watch this Dolph Ziggler movie, and then they should get together and do the mini-sode review.
That works for me. Oh, Cubit's back. Hey, Cubit.
Hey.
Welcome back. That would be hysterical.
I'm thinking that we might need to make that happen.
I would post that. Absolutely. That'd be great.
If they're down, I'm down to coordinate and make that happen.
Okay. So back to what we were talking about, SmackDown. They've been pimping Kurt Hawkins' appearance for 3-4 weeks now. Next week on SmackDown, Kurt Hawkins, and it's just another one of these fucking promos, except he's actually
it was live in between his legs.
That's what I said. That's what I was gonna say, except he's actually there saying these things and showing us his asshole like an orangutan.
I personally thought he was just trying to practice Naomi's finisher move.
I thought he was going to have a match or something. Like, what the fuck? Yeah. And then we get the Miz thing. Miz and Dolph have an argument. Daniel Bryan.
I loved this segment.
Okay.
I loved everything
I was
about
still describing it, but okay.
Go ahead. No, finish.
Daniel Bryan tries to make an Intercontinental title match for Clash of Champions, tries to give Dolph Ziggler a rematch. Miz says, fuck you, no. He doesn't deserve one. And also, I told you that when I won, I was going to renegotiate my contract. And we haven't done that yet, so I'm not wrestling until you renegotiate my contract. And then walks out through the crowd. So that's how they're going to beat Honky's record, is just have him not defend the title.
Why are you distracted, Adam?
I don't know. I'm looking at the chat. I'm looking at my phone.
Are you watching Asian snuff films in the background?
Well, we made it an hour and 6 minutes this week before you accused me of hating Asians.
I didn't accuse you of hating them. I accused you of watching them get killed.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine then. Yeah. So I'm intrigued to see how this plays out and see what it is that the Miz wants in his contract and what he wants to negotiate to have. If it's what are your? I know you said you enjoyed the whole thing, so
I did. I enjoyed first off, I enjoyed Maurice's outfit,
of course,
as I typically do. Second of all, I thought the promo Miz cut coming out was just top notch. I loved everything. There is no better heel in this company right now than the Miz. He is the best heel they have, and by that I mean your old school wrestling heel. Like,
right?
You're not going to get a "You deserve it" chant for the Miz. Like, people legitimately want to see this guy get his brains beat in, and that's exactly what you want from a top heel. Ziggler came out, and I could take or leave that whole thing. It didn't do much for me, other than pretty much the same shtick Dolph has been doing since previous to SummerSlam, which is, yeah, I lose a lot, but there's something coming soon, and I'm on a cold streak, and I'm going to turn it around, and this next match is the most important match of my career, and I have to win, and you're not going to, so this is all fucking useless. So he did that promo again. And then Daniel Bryan comes out, and he's going to play the badass authority figure, except The Miz immediately cuts him off, basically gives him a giant fuck you, and walks off on him without ever letting him really get to his point. It was tremendous work by The Miz all around, everything he did. And the best part about it was that they set up something for later, which was brilliant. And I don't even know if you caught this, but Dolph made reference to, that's why you're not a main eventer. And then later on, when The Miz comes out to get himself involved in the main event.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
And I seem to recall someone else calling that in the host chat as well.
Oh, yeah. Who was that?
Yeah, it wasn't me because I wasn't watching live, but Jason.
Yeah.
I completely forgot what I was about to say. Oh, going back to Backlash. Speaking of Miz and Dolph, going back to Backlash briefly while you watch the Red Sox game.
Holy shit! Did you know Kevin James has a new TV show?
What?
I had no idea. I gotta watch this. Sorry, go ahead. And I was watching a football game, Dick.
Were you being serious? Because there was like 8 million ads for it during.
I've never seen
things
it
that I watched. Maybe it's just because I still watch The Price is Right.
I don't watch commercials. I just fast forward through them at this point.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you caught this, but TMZ caught this. The beginning of the Intercontinental title match at Backlash.
Oh, yes, I did.
Was a rip on CM Punk.
Yeah, the same takedown shot him and took him down. Yeah.
Sean says Kevin Can Wait may be the worst name for a show ever. Yeah.
Hey, whatever. He's a funny motherfucker. I'll watch that show. At least try it once.
I also may seem distracted because I'm not looking into the camera. I'm looking down to the left because I have the Hangout on this side of the screen and the YouTube chat on this side of the screen. So the Hangout's not centered. So that might have something to do with that.
Oh, Cubit apparently has a take on the Miz's contract.
He wants a red carpet, 2 6-month paid holidays in the Bahamas. He already has those, plus a year's supply of Oakleys, and maybe some turtle wax. The original title was Kevin Has Weight. Aw. His stand-up special is still one of my favorite things of all time. Sweat the Small Stuff, great special. Anyways,
King of Queens is one of my funniest favorite sitcoms of all time. It's right up there.
I haven't watched that many episodes, but that's not what we're talking about here. Then we go backstage. AJ Styles looking for a tag team partner. Approaches
did not like this.
Approaches Baron Corbin, and Baron Corbin, in the flattest, most unbelievable, just doesn't give a shit about what he's saying thing ever, says, basically, why would I be your tag team partner? I'd rather fight you for what's around your waist. Thanks, Baron. Apparently he was pretty good on Talking Smack, but I didn't watch Talking Smack this week. But that one line was like, you are not good right now.
Here's my problem. AJ's your brand new champion, right?
Yep.
Everyone should want to tag with him. Everyone should want to be in the main event. Like, this to me made it kind of buried AJ a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that. I thought AJ should have been a focal point.
I thought the Kane one was worse because Kane just laughed at him. Because what the fuck is Kane doing?
Yeah, well, you never know when Fandango is going to dance with a fat chick and Kane's going to need to get himself involved. Yeah. Or maybe the milkman will show up, or the fucking garbage man, or the postman. And you can't just take out the postman once because, he always hits the ring twice. You see what I did there?
Wow. That was deep. That was a deep joke.
Yeah.
Then we get
Adam. All deep.
And then we get Jack Swagger.
Oh, Shaft. Gone.
In Jack Swagger?
No,
Okay.
it's not a swagger. He's just walking funny.
Your wife says nobody wants to team with him because he's annoying, and they just want to kick him in the balls, not hold his hand.
Annoying or not, he is the best wrestler on the planet right now. So.
Yes. But not the best wrestler in the universe, because that's Kevin Owens. All right, Jack Swagger's promo. A day after they introduce us to the fact that he might be leaving Raw. He leaves Raw and signs with SmackDown.
Which was fine. I enjoyed that. I thought, the credibility notwithstanding, I liked him coming out. I liked him having a little bit of a different look. I liked him trying to show some character, some charisma. I thought he came across fairly well in terms of being different than we've seen him on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he had, by the time his promo was over, I thought he had the crowd kind of on his side a little bit more than he was when he came out. However, it's the Rolling Stones. Call me Jumpin' Jack Flash. The fuck was that? Yeah. It's almost as if they had a contest. They handed them a thing and said, nobody's going to be fucking stupid enough to say this in front of the crowd. Do you think we can make Jack say this in front of the crowd? And somebody handed him the paper and bet $5 he wouldn't do it.
Bet him $5 or bet somebody else $5?
I think they were betting each other.
Yeah. Sean says, now that I'm on SmackDown, you won't be able to get Jack off. If they're actually going to do something with him, I look forward to it because I have been a Jack Swagger fan in the past. I think he does have talent in the ring, and he knows what he's doing in there. And like you said, his matches, and Sal said the series with Rusev was good years ago. So if they're actually going to do something with Jack Swagger, I look forward to it, and I'm interested to see where this goes. So,
yeah, Baron Corbin and Jack Swagger is, in a weird way, something I could be into seeing how that goes. It's certainly, in terms of Baron Corbin, a better usage than we've seen so far. I'm certainly more interested in seeing him in Swagger than I would be in seeing him in Kalisto, for example.
Yeah,
because Corbin's belly can't do one lucha thing, and.
There's another fucking argument going on. There's another argument going over here, and I don't know what's going on. And then we get the 5-pack women's challenge to determine the number one contender.
This side thread here is turning into an outright shit show, and it's totally taking away from the show in the most wonderful of ways. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So 5-pack challenge because the Raw had a triple threat, so SmackDown had to put 2 more in there, and I guess just use their entire women's roster. So now every time they need to determine a number one contender, they're just going to throw everyone in a match all at once and say, fight it out.
You're talking about the women's match, right?
Yes.
Yeah. We skipped over Becky's terrible fucking promo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I like we talked about it on the pay-per-view. Love Becky. Big Becky fan. She shouldn't be talking in front of a live crowd right now. She should do pre-tapes where they can clean it up and make it better and have her redo it. In front of a live crowd, she just, I don't know, she doesn't seem to connect with the crowd the way your top face should in her promos. I don't know. Do you have a different take on that, or?
I don't mind her. I'm glad that she seems to not be going for the puns anymore, because that was terrible. But I don't mind her promos. I think I'm happy that she's champion, and I'm happy that she's getting a shot. And I think I just enjoy. I enjoy the accent too.
I just don't think she's particularly good on the mic or comfortable for that matter. She seems
I can definitely see that. I can definitely see
awkward and nervous when doing them.
Mm-hmm.
Come at me, bros. Well, first off, they're not bros. I love the "come at me, bro" phrase and that whole thing, but you're talking about 5 women. It's just no. But anyway, the other thing, it was kind of like they're going to such an extent with SmackDown. It's like, oh, hey, we've got all these women. Let's just show everybody all these women every week in some match, whether it's a 6-woman tag or a tag match that features both of them with the other 2 on commentary. Or I can't remember the last time they did a match on SmackDown where the entire women's roster wasn't involved in the one match.
Right. Yeah. And like you've talked about it shows how thin the roster is, that they only have the 6.
But this week marks the end of the suspension of Eva Marie.
Oh.
That roster will be getting a little deeper and a little redder next week.
Are you saying deeper like her vagina?
I have no idea how deep her vagina is.
Anyway. Your wife thinks you're doing a terrible job multitasking because you're also watching the football game.
I am not currently watching the football game.
And Sean wants you to know that they're playing at New Era Field because obviously the WWE granted them the naming rights. Ba-dum-bum. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Bliss versus Lynch.
I'm pretty sure my wife is drunk. I don't know.
Maybe. But I'm looking forward to Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch at
this may go down as one of our worst shows ever. I don't know.
Including last week? I don't know. At No Mercy. So and like we talked about when we talked about Backlash, the Alexa Bliss is really starting to show what she can do, and I'm looking forward to seeing the 2 of them go at each other.
Yeah, I thought Alexa wasn't quite as good here as she was the night before. Not that she was bad here. I was definitely surprised she was the one picked to move on to be the #1 contender. I'm happy for her. I think it's well deserved. She's worked hard, obviously, and very much upped her game. But
it's distracting. The chat on the side is getting very distracting.
It really, really is.
Your wife wants me to stop something, but I don't know what. Sean says you can't podcast and parent at the same time, and that his sources are telling him that Jackson was last seen playing with a book of matches. And Cuban wants me to stop saying vajayjay.
Which is what I think my wife was talking about, you talking about her vagina.
Vagina.
Oh my gosh. My wife is definitely drunk.
Love her pigtail. Apparently your wife loves her pigtails but hates her cunt face.
Yes, that is actually something my wife wrote.
And then she just said Eva Marie. All right. Anyway, we might have to
I love Alexa's resting bliss face. I think it's tremendous.
Yeah. Sean likes a woman who drops the C word. Respect. Okay. Moving along. We then get to the
I feel like we're guest players in the Sean and Lisa and Cubit show that's going on.
Yeah.
Side chat.
I think I might have to close the chat on the side and just focus on.
For those of you who don't watch the Rundown live, I suggest you watch the Rundown Facebook page and join us live for these YouTube shows.
Yeah, what? YouTube page, not Facebook page.
Because this is tremendous. Well, yes. No, it's posted. The link is posted on the Facebook page.
And Twitter. And it's on questendnetwork.com. But I don't think you don't get the live chat if you watch the live stream on questendnetwork.com.
And Adam is quite the twatter, so you should definitely follow him.
I tweet all the time. But yes, then we get Heath Slater's contract signing. Which leads to a tag team championship match against the Ascension, which they win handily.
Yeah. Why? I guess so.
Yeah, I don't know.
First off, another dick move by Shane towards Heath, making him defend the titles in an impromptu match.
I'm not gonna lie, I was looking forward to the title change, and then it didn't happen. I got kind of mad.
Well, did you see that horrible botched spot though with the Ascension? Oh my god!
I may have missed it. I may have been
terrible.
tweeting at the time.
Oh, it's terrible. It's just awful, and a reminder of why they are where they are, I guess. And I'm largely an Ascension fan back in the NXT days, but man, have they disappointed on the main roster. But that notwithstanding, the interaction between Heath and Rhino I thought was really weird during this segment. While they were doing the contract signing, it seemed like Heath kept trying to be buddy-buddy with him, and Rhino kept trying to, don't touch me, I don't want to talk about that, blah, 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 and just kind of really standoffish. But then at the end, he's hugging him after the match. So I don't know where that was going. It was just weird. Very kind of uneven to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we had a guest over at that point, which is why it took me so goddamn long to watch everything, and why I didn't tweet when I was watching CWC and NXT last night, because I didn't watch it because we had somebody over, and it was decided that we had to watch The Fifth Element instead.
Spoiler alert: it's love.
It is love, and then they have sex in a tube. But yeah, I mean, the match itself was what it was. Like I said, I was looking forward to the title change. I was hoping maybe we'll do something with the Ascension. We're apparently not doing anything with the Ascension.
No, we in a 24-hour span, we've buried the Hype Bros and the Ascension, and now our 6-team division is down to 4, and one of them's injured.
Yeah.
And by the way, here's the other thing: a lot of people
injured.
Yeah. For those of you who are beyond over the moon, happy for Slater and Rhino and the tag team, let me just point out to you that the best gimmick the WWE has going died the second Heath Slater put paper to pen on that contract signing. It is. It's the end of the best angle of Heath Slater's career.
Yeah, no, I'll grant you that. But now he's got that momentum. He's got the crowd behind him. So maybe they'll.
Yeah, and where do you think?
And he's got the championship.
And where do you think he's going to be the second they lose those titles?
Shut up! I'm happy now. Yeah. I was going to say something. I can't remember what it was. Oh, Heath Slater's new T-shirt. His official. They couldn't release an official free agent T-shirt, even though that T-shirt was awesome. His first official T-shirt says, "Give me a job. I have kids." That's all it fucking doesn't say his name on it. Doesn't have a logo anywhere. It just says, "Give me a job," and on the back it says, "I have kids."
Lots of them. Yeah, and the whole Beulah, we're getting a double wide. It's just
I laughed at that.
I guess maybe I just look for slightly more in my comedy than Rhino sucking cheese whiz out of a can. I don't know.
I agree that the making him a redneck
he's Jamie Noble. That's what he is now.
Yeah.
That's what they've made him.
And Rhino is his Nydia? Is she gonna get blinded? Is he gonna get blinded?
I think Beulah is his Nydia.
Yeah. Is she gonna get blinded? Is one of the kids gonna get blinded? Did somebody get blinded in this? Anyway. And then we have the main event that Shane made earlier in the evening. How can they ever get a long tag team of Dean Ambrose and John Cena versus AJ Styles and a partner of his choosing who wasn't of his choosing, who chose him instead? We first get the jobber from Raw a couple weeks ago.
James Ellsworth. Get the fucking name right. Who, by the way, should be playing one of Heath's kids.
Or like a brother.
Because the resemblance is kind of weird. Yeah, and Ellsworth got a huge pop from the crowd because everyone loved him. He was the first of the new generation of jobbers. He comes out, and on his way out, The Miz just unmercifully beats the shit out of him and takes his spot in the match. And again, to my point earlier, my favorite part, Miz screaming at him, "I'm always the main event."
Yeah. Sean wants to know, why does James Ellsworth not have a chin? I don't know. It's a straight line from nose to neck.
Whatever. Because he's a jobber. Jobbers can't afford chins.
He looks inbred. Jobbers can't afford chins. That might be the title of the show. Jobbers can't afford chins. Yeah. Excuse me. Going through the change. The match itself was decent. The ending was the best part. Because
the ending sucked.
Because Dean Ambrose beat up John Cena. Beat up John Cena.
Well, no. Okay, so a couple things. You fast forwarded past the ending. So despite all this tremendous work to build up the Miz, he takes a clean pinfall victory to John Cena.
Yeah, because we can't have AJ Styles take a pin. God no.
No, well, I don't think AJ should have taken the pin either. I think one of Dean or John should have taken the pin to build the dissension between them, which would lead to what we saw at the end. Neither one of those guys needs a pinfall victory in this match. I think The Miz needed to not get pinned, and I think as the new champ, AJ probably shouldn't have gotten pinned at that point either.
Sure.
So I would have gone the other way around on that. But the interesting thing I found was a Philadelphia crowd booed mercilessly Dean Ambrose for hitting the dirty deeds on John Cena. I found that very weird. Is John Cena finally at the twilight of his career becoming a sympathetic face? Have we reached that point, or is Philly just that against Dean?
That jaded. It is Philly, so it is going to be one of those crowds that you can't always trust on them to give the response you're going to expect. But I mean, I do agree with you that it would have made more sense had Cena and Ambrose lost that match instead of, hey, we won, fuck you anyways. But it works for if the heel leanings of Dean Ambrose, hopefully, like I said, serious Dean Ambrose, and making that turn going into or coming out of Clash of Champions, depending on how they want to play it.
And then there was NXT.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we haven't made quite as good a time as we did last week before I showed up.
But we also talked about UFC and Backlash.
Yeah, and we've had this shit show on the side here. So.
Sean wants to know why Ellsworth was murdered on the Connor's Cure logo. And says, Philly has turned against Ambrose because he's no longer taking weed whackers to the face in their city. That should have said weed whackers, but I have whacked a wee a time or two. Nintendo?
NXT. They call one of them their double entendres.
Entendres. NXT. So
it happened.
Yeah, I didn't tweet it because it was late at that point. I went to bed far too late last night. Anyway.
What kind of asshole live tweets a show that's not live? It's when he's tweeting about it.
This kind of asshole, all right? It helps me take notes for the show. So we start off with sympathetic Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
Who wants to apologize to Shinsuke. Brings out Shinsuke. They challenges him to a title match. There's a rematch as soon as he's cleared to wrestle. Shinsuke says okay. Then goes to leave and he beats the shit out of him. To a stretchered out. And
they did it in an interesting way. I mean, Joe left, went all the way to the back.
Yeah.
Shinsuke was able to do his whole thing. As he heads back to the back, he goes to do the bowing gimmick as he leaves that he traditionally does. And then Joe runs back out from behind the curtain, jumps him, and beats the shit out of him. So they did a good job with the fake out there, I thought.
Yeah. And so, yeah, beats him up, gives him a was it a suplex or like a some kind of almost a brainbuster situation or on something on the stairs, and they have to stretcher Shinsuke out, and that's all that we can talk about for the rest of the show.
Well, I mean, it's a pretty big angle when your champion gets taken out on a stretcher and brought to a medical facility, so I have no problem with them focusing on that for the rest of the show. What I did have a problem with was the women's situation.
Liv Morgan?
I'm a Liv Morgan fan. I like Liv Morgan. I think Liv Morgan.
2 victories in and challenging Asuka for the women's championship.
And it's not believable. Asuka's going to break this poor little thing in half. I mean, this is the problem with the call-ups and the way they did things is that now NXT has no one in the women's division that's a legitimate or credible threat to Asuka.
Yeah, they need to be do some more some building there. Certainly,
maybe Ember Moon, but I think it's way too early for that. I think that's going to be the kind of where you go and end up program.
Yeah, definitely. But you got to build up your Billy Kays. You got to build up your Liv Morgans, your Peyton Royces, your
Rachel Fazios,
Rachel Ellering, who's now Rachel Fazio.
Which makes sense because Paul Ellering's a character on the show, so you really shouldn't have them.
Still, not fuck doing anything.
But unless you're going to play up the character. Oh, yeah, they were on the show this week, huh?
Yeah.
The Authors of Pain.
They beat up...
Akam and Razar.
They beat up 2 guys. And Paul Ellering still hasn't said a goddamn word. He just stands there.
Yeah, well, at some point it's going to happen, and I guess the idea is that it's going to be way more meaningful when they finally get to that point. But hopefully, you haven't lost the crowd by then.
Right. Yeah. This is one of those. There's such a thing as too slow of a burn.
Exactly.
So. And then Bobby Roode beat up No Way Jose, and
who looks like Troy apparently,
and had an entrance with a turntable that was amazing.
Now, if only he had a second one and cut a promo, he could have 2 turntables and a microphone.
No, we're just gonna let that one sit for a minute. Okay, CWC. The finale of the Cruiserweight Classic last night. Hooray! I think I said it last week. I wanted TJ Perkins to win. I honestly don't remember who I picked to win last week because I don't remember what I talk about.
I like TJP. No problem.
I'm a big fan. I wanted it. He was my sentimental choice, but I was like, oh, they'll go with Metalik, and they didn't, and it was fantastic.
Look, we can run through it, but all these matches were great.
Yes, the whole tournament was fantastic.
I thought the first one, I thought Sabre Jr. and Metalik had a little trouble getting on the same page at several points. Some of the high risk spots seemed a little, almost like a step slow. Wasn't horrible. There weren't tremendous botches, but there were things that, a trained eye who's been around the business recognized and saw that were not. They did a great job recovering, though. I will give them that.
And Sabre didn't need to sell a knee injury this week.
No, well, Sabre doesn't sell. Period. Apparently.
He took the Metal League driver very strangely, though.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't come out of this being a Zack Sabre Jr. fan.
Cubit says the CWC was highly disappointing, and I'm interested to hear why. So please post that on the side there. I'm interested on that opinion because I certainly disagree.
I think a lot of people went into it expecting to see Zack Sabre Jr. and Kota Ibushi in the final, and I think for that reason there were a good segment of people who were disappointed.
Well, that's why you don't root for the guys who aren't signed yet.
Well, there's a segment of fans that don't know who's signed and who isn't. So for those people, they looked at the brackets, they saw the 2 biggest stars in the tournament were on opposite sides of the bracket, and your obvious assumption is, and I thought right up until the end that they would just go with it and do it. Obviously, when it became clear, and kudos to Troy, he called this one ahead of time, that they were going to put the tag title, the Cruiserweight title on the winner. Obviously, it had to be somebody who was signed. For my money, I wouldn't have necessarily done it the way they did it. I would have had Sabre Jr. win the first match and then have TJP beat his Kota Ibushi, and then you end up with a situation where you can say TJP won this tournament by beating Kota Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr. in the same night. And I thought that would have been a nicer feather in the cap to do it that way.
Yeah, but he still gets to say that he beat Kota Ibushi. He still gets to say he beat Grand Metalik, who's one of the other guys that they've been screaming about from the beginning. Cubit says Perkins won by doing a foot lock on knee bar. Grand Metalik was the better wrestler. Perkins is another foot hack like Kurt Angle or Jack Swagger.
So,
are you gonna make it, Chief?
Yeah. Sorry. So Cubit apparently, and I don't know who Cubit is, and
Nope.
I appreciate his viewership. However, he's obviously one of those guys who's into the flippy shit, and and TJP can do his share of the flippy shit. He just doesn't finish with one of those big moves. He uses a submission. Really not that much different than Brian Kendrick's bully choke. I mean, the guy can do more impressive stuff, but we're moving in professional wrestling to a more of a style that they want to resemble reality of MMA in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing a lot more of these moves that are legitimate finishing holds in MMA that are now being used as legitimate finishing holds in professional wrestling because people believe that they hurt because they see them hurt on UFC.
Right, and it's not, and there's a psychology to it as well. And that, he was working the leg through all the matches. That's how he won most of the matches in the tournament, or all of them, I believe.
Yep.
Was with that knee bar, and so there's a psychology there where they go, oh shit, that's the submission.
Yeah.
That's going to end this match. And so it makes perfect sense to me, and I appreciate how they did it. I'm a huge fan of TJ Perkins winning the title, winning the Cruiserweight Championship. I was not a fan of the Cruiserweight Championship when Triple H held it up, but then when they put it on Perkins, I was like, oh no, that actually looks pretty good when it's actually being worn.
I'm just glad it's not a giant W.
Yeah.
Anything that wasn't resembling every other belt would have been.
Then they showed a close up of it, and I'm like, that looks a little cheap. But
I think it looks nicer than some of the other belts. It's certainly. I mean, it's not a red fruit roll up, so it's got that going for it.
From far away, it looks pretty good, so I'll take it.
I dated quite a few girls. You could say the same thing.
I thought Perkins. I thought Perkins' speech at the end was fantastic.
Yeah.
Basically, because he put over everybody in the tournament.
Yep.
You know, build that division. Let them know that. Let the people watching know, and I'm sure that they'll use that on Raw as well. Let them know that these are everybody in that tournament is a solid competitor, and you're going to enjoy watching them no matter who they're facing, no matter what's on the line, if anything's on the line at all. And so we should watch the Cruiserweight division on Raw because it's going to be spectacular.
Yes.
So,
assuming they allow them to do stuff, and it's not. My only concern is, I mean, you saw some of it tonight, the little kind of glitches and botches and that kind of stuff, and that's harder to cover up on a live show, obviously, than it was in the other weeks previous of this tournament. So we'll see.
Yeah. Thankfully, Kota Ibushi did not get himself counted out this week.
Nope. I thought it was close, though, at one point.
Yeah, seriously. I was like, he remembers it as just 10, right?
It was really touch and go there for a second. It looked very much like he may forget to get back in the ring at that point.
Yeah. But congratulations to TJ Perkins. Well deserved. Big fan of that decision. And I look forward to, like you said, hopefully they do it right and what they do with the Cruiserweights on Raw. So, and I don't know who it was that posted, if it was
by the way, big props to
JR. Go ahead.
So big props to DIY, Noam Dar, and Cedric Alexander, because that match too I thought was great.
Yes. Yep. And then they continue to build the Revival story by posting a video where the Revival attack him in the parking lot afterwards.
Yep.
DIY, that is. Yeah, so that match was great. We do have, apparently, according to reports, Brian Kendrick, Rich Swann, and Jack Gallagher are scheduled for Raw. Of course, TJ Perkins is as well. And
Brian Kendrick should be scheduled for SmackDown to be fighting The Miz on behalf of Daniel Bryan.
Man. But in another note that I thought was interesting from that report, there is talk of doing another tournament in this vein, but with women's competitors.
Yeah, that was talked about pretty much right from the jump with the Cruiserweight Classic. Also, some question as to whether they were going to do a Dusty Rhodes Tag Classic this year, but apparently they've gone back and forth. And the last thing I saw was that the plans were moving forward to do it. So
yeah, off again, on again, off again, and now the reports are that it's on again. So, but yeah, I'd be interested in seeing a women's tournament, whatever they decide to call it. I'm not
Speaking
sure.
of which, this week's Sam Roberts podcast, he has Cody Rhodes on, which is a pretty good listen. So
nice. And there's your weekly segment. Jason talks about other podcasts.
Had to work it in there,
of course. And I'm interested to see who they would get to do that women's tournament as well, if there may be some people that we know on there. So,
I imagine there would be. The trick is a lot of the best women wrestlers are now, contractually obligated somewhere.
Right.
Your Veda Scotts. Who else am I not thinking of?
Is Taylor Hendricks contracted somewhere? I don't know.
She was in Ring of Honor. I think she still is. But I believe Mistress Belmont's available. So
indeed.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's that. But yeah, big ups to TJ Perkins. Very happy that he won. Touching briefly on it because you mentioned it earlier, Ryback is petitioning to legally change his name to Ryback Reeves because, yeah.
Have you listened to his podcast?
God, fuck no. He explained, quote, "It's not uncharted territory, but it kind of is too in a way. I legally went and changed my name to Ryback for many reasons, one of which it was one thing that I did not own, and I am who I am, that I am very proud of. So I went through the proper steps in Clark County in Las Vegas, and it cost a little bit of money, and I go in front of a judge September 1st. But when this airs, hopefully everything is approved, and I would be known as Ryback Alan Reeves moving forward.
The thing I found interesting about his podcast was that for all the bitching and back and forth in social media and etc., he and CM Punk both pretty much complained about the same shit. And it was pretty much nonsensical in both cases, but they did.
Yeah. So he is apparently changing his name for the same reason the Ultimate Warrior changed his name.
Is he coming out with a comic book too?
Is he going to rape Santa Claus so that he could own the name? Saying, what?
What?
You don't remember that from the Warrior comic book?
Santa Claus?
No, BDSM Santa Claus. Look it up. It's on WrestleCrap. Yeah, he also noted that the name change was something he felt had to be done because it wasn't fair that wrestlers spend so much time building their brand only to lose it when they leave. Sean says, Ryback Reeves is somehow more ridiculous than if he decided to call himself Skip Sheffield Reeves. Yep, sure is. So that's that. I think that's our dumbest news story of the week. Legally changing his name to Ryback.
Also, Paige set to return to the road for the WWE this week. A lot of speculation about whether or not she was going to actually come back or she was going to...
Del Rio is officially gone. That was he held a press conference in Mexico this week. Del Rio is officially done. Says he's going to retire in 2 years.
But did say there was no contention with him in the WWE, that it was a positive parting of the ways, and he could definitely see himself coming back to do one shots and that kind of thing in the future. Right. So I think a lot of the contention and acrimony might have been just kind of created by the wrestling media, which wouldn't be a shock. But yeah, no, Paige apparently has worked out her issues and I believe scheduled to actually even be on Raw next week. So
okay. Yeah, there were all kind of reports this week of her. She was getting a lawyer to try and get out of her contract, and she didn't think that she had to. She didn't feel like she wanted to stay, and whatever. She's on the road. She might be back on Raw, so we'll see what happens there. The only other thing I had,
the final deletion.
No, the only other thing I had, although I did like the Matt Hardy post about when he was at Titan Towers. I thought that was good.
Yes, for those of you who don't know, they did the Delete or Decay, and I haven't watched part 2, which is tonight, but the punchline, the ending, the cliffhanger of last week was that the team of Decay had kidnapped
Senior
Benjamin. They also took Vanguard.
They found him, by the way. They did find him.
Fucking spoiler alert, douche. I just said I haven't watched it yet.
It was on Twitter.
Fuck. God damn it. Well, there goes my night, asshat. Thanks.
It was on Twitter. We didn't even have it on Impact. It was on Twitter. He posted a picture on Twitter of them finding Senior Benjamin.
Douche. Anyway.
I just pulled a Troy. Womp womp.
Yeah, well, how about we send a special fuck you out to Troy for our host thread, giving all the spoiler results to NXT to those of us who wanted to watch the show this week.
Thought there was gonna be a joke in there. Nope.
Yeah, he's like, well, why'd you read it? Because you post shit like that all the time with jokes. Like,
all right. The only other thing I had to talk about was.
I was in the middle of it. So anyway, yeah. So anyway,
deleted Decay. Go ahead.
The ending of the punchline of the first one was that they kidnapped Senior Benjamin and Vanguard 1. So in the meantime, the past week, Matt Hardy's been going ham on Twitter and social media with, missing posters for Senior Benjamin, and they've actually been getting printed out and placed in random public spots, similar to the Andre the Giant Has a Posse posters.
Yeah.
But there was one where Matt Hardy posted himself outside of Titan Towers and said he had just finished looking in Meek Mahan's playground for Senior Benjamin.
I have scoured Meek Mahan's grounds. I think it's something to the effect of how he could really use his services.
Oh, he's so great. The Broken Matt character is just amazing. And to his credit, he goes on all these other podcasts and continues the character, lives the gimmick. I heard him on MVP's podcast this week. And I heard him he was on another one too that I was just listening to. God damn it. Conan's podcast. And he does the full gimmick, the full character. And it's just, he's so good, so funny, so entertaining. I was one of the people that thought this gimmick was an abortion, and the more he's just done amazing things with it. Hats off to Matt Hardy.
There you go. Okay.
And Senior Benjamin.
Yeah.
Because nobody prepares the battlefield for massacre like Senior Benjamin.
Okay. According to reports, this week's episode of Raw drew the lowest non-holiday rating since 1996. And in 1996, Raw was not only up against Monday Night Football, but also had Monday Nitro as well. This week was just the debut of Monday Night Football. In
their defense, the one thing I will say in their defense in regards to it is that the first week of Monday Night Football, they run 2 games where they normally wouldn't. So there's literally a game covering the entire span of Raw, whereas usually, you wouldn't have that.
But yeah, Monday's edition of Raw drew 2.69 million viewers and a 1.88 rating. First hour was 2.833 million, second hour 2.717 million, and the final hour 2.52 million. Third hour was the least watched hour of the show since the move to 3 hours, and that includes holidays. As you said, faced off against a Monday Night Football doubleheader, which averaged 12.96 million viewers for the first game and 10.252 million for the second. But even football was down from last year. It was also the lowest rated game since 2008, the second one, the 49ers versus Rams. Monday Night Football, the audience for Raw against the Monday Night Football season opener for the last 5 years. 2012, they had 4.13. 2013, 3.88. 2014, 3.98. 2015, 3.39. 2016, 2.69.
See, right now, you're throwing a lot of big numbers at me. Because I don't understand them, I'm going to take them as disrespect. Watch your mouth.
Thanks for that. Do you have anything else to add?
I think I'm just about ready to tap out tonight, man. It's been a long night.
I couldn't tell by the enormous yawning, which is another front runner for the title of the show. So that does it for the rundown for this Thursday, September 15th, 2016. 390 days.
Oh, hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to take a second, since I have a spot on this podcast, and I know she's been participating, to wish my amazing wife a happy wedding anniversary this Saturday. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know you have an amazing wife when she's piling in the car with you to go sit at your wrestling show on your anniversary because you made a commitment and you intend to uphold it. I love you, honey. Thank you for 11 years, and here's to a million more.
Aww. No. And I'll make sure that I actually remember to say hi to you this time, so your son doesn't have to walk over and go, "You didn't say hi to my mom yet."
Yeah. He'll kick you in the dick.
Can he kick that high? That's impressive.
He'll try.
He's about the height he could headbutt. That would work.
Congrats to Kogo Sean for getting that reference, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah. Sean says, when you listen to Conan's podcast, that means you have officially listened to too many wrestling podcasts.
Hey, look, Conan's podcast is actually entertaining. It's not, it's more trash kind of wrestling podcast comedy, but it's humor. It's, immature jokes and stuff.
And says, did you guys catch Timothy Well and Stephen Dunn on Damien Demento's podcast this week? It's absolute must listen.
In a weird way, and I wouldn't think it would be true, but Disco Inferno actually makes the show kind of funny. So, I'll tell you. And Kevin Gill's really good on there, too. So, but they bring, like, Juventud Guerrero on. And
Juventud?
Yeah, Juventud, and he's just insane, which is amazing. But they just kind of have fun with it, and it comes across. They don't do your typical, hey, we've got this guest for this whole podcast. They'll film interviews with these people and kind of break them up into segments and air, 3 different segments of 3 different people on each week of the show. It's just kind of, it's an interesting way to try it. I would check it out.
Your wife says she deserves a large diamond, so good luck with that.
No, okay, so she says that, and she doesn't say thank you for the sweet words or nothing like that. This is the fucking shit I deal with.
Large Diamond, just take it to Fenway. Hey-oh. That does it for the rundown for this Thursday, September 15th, 2016. 390 days since the New Day won the WWE Tag Team Championship. Sorry, the Raw Tag Team Championship.
The WWE Raw Tag
See,
Team
it still works.
Championship.
It still works, and you're not lying anymore.
Well, except they weren't the Raw Tag Team Championships when they won them.
They weren't the World Tag Team Championships when they won them.
Well, I mean, were there other World Tag? I guess, yeah, Kazarian and Daniels are the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions of the world, so.
Okay.
Oh, you don't watch Ring of Honor. That's right.
I DVR it. Go to audibletrial.com/rundown for a free audiobook and a 30-day free trial of Audible. Atlantic Pro Wrestling returns Saturday, September 17th.
Yes.
How about that?
Yes, this Saturday it's going to be a big show. I've run down the matches, so I don't want to get too far into those again. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Adam will be there ring announcing. I will be there doing my commissioner thing. Special start time of 6:30 for this event. Doors open at 6. I encourage you anywhere. If you're anywhere in the Newbury area, come by, say hi, and tell us you listen to the rundown.
I got a couple of my trivia guys to come out.
Nice.
So, because at the end of every trivia game,
can I get them into a Stumpy chant? You think?
At the end of every trivia game, I always say, thanks for coming out. And as always, if you're a fan of professional wrestling, ask me about my podcast. And then I end the show with that. And they're like, who's your guy? And I'm like, oh God, that's such a tough question. I was like, and then we started talking about John Cena. I was like, I know John Cena Sr. I've worked with John Cena Sr. I actually have a show this weekend. You guys should come out. It's literally right down the street. So that's this Saturday in Newbury. Elkmania 4 is next Saturday, September 24th at the Beverly Hudson Elks Lodge in Beverly, Mass. Liberty States returns October 8th with Fall Fury at the John McCarthy Elementary School in Peabody. And Lucky Pro Wrestling returns to the Elks Lodge in Clinton, Mass on Saturday, October 29th with Fall Frenzy.
Did Aaron Amadeus really get a spot in the Elkmania show? Did I see that correctly?
I am not sure.
Way to stay on top of your product, Adam. Never mind. Go ahead.
I don't book it. I just talk. I just say what they tell me to say.
That's passion for what you do, Adam. Good job.
It's once a year. I'm not expected to keep up with that.
So what I get out of that is if you work, if you're working the Elkmania show, if you're booking the Elkmania show, just hand Adam a set of cards and have him read it because that's all he's going to do. Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
I should get a burgundy suit. Stump trivia every Tuesday.
In Peabody.
One time. One fucking time. Something. Del me exo. Go fuck yourself. Stump trivia every Tuesday night.
Don't tell me I'm going to go fuck herself.
No, I was telling you to go fuck yourself.
That's not what it sounded like. Delmi's a very sweet girl. I think that's inappropriate. You owe her an apology.
I'm sorry.
You also owe her sister an apology for not knowing her fucking name.
It was the first time I'd ever met them. And I didn't know which was which. That was actually last year's Elkmania. Anyway.
Well, look at it this way. If you don't know which one's which, just call them both by the same fucking name, and you're guaranteed to be right at least half the time.
That's basically what I did. Anyway. That was last year's Elkmania. I hope they cut that out of the DVD. Follow us on Twitter at Rundown Podcast. Send us an email to rundownwrestling@gmail.com. Call the hotline at 617-863-6967, 61 Rundown 7.
I'm just glad to know that you know who was on last year's Elkmania show because you have no fucking clue who's on this year's. Go ahead.
There's a battle royal for the New England. Is it the New England Championship? The Bay State Championship.
I don't know who runs. Who runs? Which promotion is Elkmania?
It's Project Zero. Todd Graham, Atlee Green, Ryan Andrews.
Okay. Well, for those of you who are in charge of Elkmania, allow me to first say I'm sorry for Adam. Allow me to secondly say, if at any point you get sick of this bullshit, I have some history in ring announcing. I can fill in if you need somebody.
He's worked at Fenway Park. He's worked at Fenway Park.
True, I have. If you needed somebody who actually gives a shit about the product they're ring announcing for, feel free to hit me up. At Jay Stewart on Twitter.
It's
0920.
It's
At J Stewart 0920. Don't do at J Stewart because he's gonna have no fucking clue what you're talking about.
It's 10:30 at night. I don't give a shit about anything right now, except ending this goddamn show. Hotline 61 rundown 7. Leave us a voicemail like Sal and Tommy do.
When can I talk about this rash that I got? Because you told me we'd talk about it later. Or you said you could.
Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/rundownwrestling. Watch archived episodes at youtube.com/rundownpodcast. And while it's still a thing, circle me on google.com/+AdamRundownHost.
Should have sent you the pictures.
To make a monetary donation, go to paypal.me/rundownwrestling. It costs me $10 a month to host this on Podomatic. If you want to help out with that, that would be much appreciated.
And he's going to need it because apparently he's about to be out of a ring announcing job at Elkhorn. So,
if you're a fan of poetry, go to tinyurl.com/distant horizons. Check out Andy's poetry book.
And as Troy would say, print it out on hard, rough paper and wipe your ass with it. I believe that was his exact quote last week.
As Troy would say. And follow all the podcasts on the Questionable Endeavor Network, Shadowvane at shadowvane.net and patreon.com/Shadowvane, the Geek and Gamer Guild, Tooning Japanese, and the Raw Attitude Podcast. Check out all of those fine podcasts, plus columns, articles, live streams, all kinds of stuff on questendnetwork.com and at questendnetwork on Twitter.
I need to wrap this up because I have to go do a live stream of my own, if you know what I'm saying.
Please check out the forums. Search for us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Podomatic under the Rundown Wrestling Podcast. If you subscribe, you get the podcast delivered to you absolutely free each and every week for $0.00. If you cannot afford a monetary donation, leave us a 5-star review on iTunes because that helps other people find us. Thank you to Tegan Brown for the logo. Thanks to everyone for listening. Thanks to Sean and to Cubit and to Jackson and to Lisa on the side in the chat room for taking over the goddamn show. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Adam, and thanks to the fine folks at Elkmania this year. I apologize horribly for Adam's lack of tact regarding your product.
And thanks to iFight Dragons at ifightdragons.com for the theme song. Next week, it's Clash of Champions predictions. So how about that?
That happened quickly.
It does. It's going to for at least the next 6 weeks. As always, Jacob, good night and good luck. Bree, Zong, go fuck yourself. The Young Bucks will not be at Elkmania. Sean. But Todd Sopel will be.
Oh, so now you know who's going to be at Elkmania. All right.
I know some of the people. And take care, Bulby Faces.
Peace.
Trying to get me fired, you bastard.
You get yourself fired, man. I come on here, I run down all the APW matches. Who's on the show? I don't fucking know. I should stop recording now.
You're the commissioner. I'm not the commissioner of Elkmania.
No, he's a ring announcer. You have to fucking tell everybody who's there all the time.
Mm-hmm. And they give me a card, and I write it. They do the same thing Joe does. They give me a card, I write it down, I tell it out loud.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Who put the question mark on the prompter?
You are a dirty pirate hooker, you are.
All right. Back to this. Oh, no.
What?
We had 2 more voicemails. Oh, well.
Oh, you douche. What were they?
Sal calling about NXP and CWC.
We're still on live. We should play them.
We should, because you're going to want to hear the last one.
Okay.
Sorry, Sal.
Apparently, Adam didn't know who was on the fucking voicemail either. So I was calling to talk about NXT and CWC. NXT, I'm going to be brief. We all know what happened on NXT without having to watch it. Thank you, Troy. But I thought they did a good job of kind of swerving everybody into thinking Joe was doing some type of a face turn. You know, he came out there to talk about respect, and I've been a deplorable human being, and this, that, and the other thing, and then he goes and he hospitalizes Nakamura and puts him on the stretcher right out of the arena. So good on them. That got Joe a lot of heat. As far as the CWC goes, you know what? We should have seen TJ Perkins as the winner from the beginning because they did a great job booking this thing. They booked him as the underdog from day one. They booked Kota Ibushi as the favorite. So when he kicked out of that power bomb, the crowd exploded. And when Kota Ibushi tapped, the crowd exploded again. They set the stage by setting up the fact that nobody kicks out of that power bomb, that Kota Ibushi is the favorite to win the whole tournament. And to be quite honest, the finals were almost anticlimactic. Yes, Grandma Talik was great, and I thought the match was good, but when Kota Ibushi lost, that's the shock value moment of CWC. So I thought they did it very nicely. Sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes the booking can be simple. It can be ABC booking if you do it right, and I thought they did it right. As far as the title goes, the title belt, I have no problem with it. I know some people on this show have called it cheap looking. I don't agree. I think it looks fine. It is what it is. Talk to you guys next week.
I'll put an apology at the end of the show and record this for the end of the show. We have one more. If my phone will cooperate, there we go.
Okay, this episode of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown were especially unexpected. And Troy, I'm sorry to say you're still Bobby Roode. Bye.
There we go. That's all the voicemails for this week.
That happened.
Thank you, Jackson. even though you are hopefully asleep at this point. Okay. Transcript time. Because that's what we do on the post show. We have transcripts. That's really small. Holy shit.
That's what she said.
You would know. Hey guys, it's Sal. I wanted to call into the rundown and give you a quick little overview with my thought on that class. I know that can't really analyze that class until you see what happens this week on SmackDown, but let's take it separate from what they end up playing out on SmackDown. I will say I thought the pay-per-view, which was above average. I thought there was some good wrestling, some good matches, some good storytelling. There was also some really crappy booking decisions, which, it seems to be popping the course these days. I will say this, that 8 out of 8 tiles is the only man, no, 8 tiles is the only man that has now held it WWE World Championship, the NWA World Championship, the TNA World Championship, the AIWGP World Championship, and they could angle this is what we got your feet, the ring of on our World Championship. No one else has done that, so it is amazing that AJ has won. The 7 of E title. I thought the match was great. I thought it 120 minutes. And I thought it was pretty exciting. I think the Remax will be even better because obviously Gene is going to get his rematch. I say let him go in a frigate street fight. Let him go. Let them go for like half an hour. Let's get a crazy. Obviously, I think you should keep the title at this point. But I need something to do until John Cena gets back, which is obviously where they're going once John Cena gets back. Far as the rest of the card goes, I think I like the new Who Knows. I like the new attitude. I like the new look. They need new music and a new Titan. They'll be all set after that. Congrats to Becky Lynch. God knows how many years in the making become VWW Women's Champion, this SmackDown version blue belt only. And I really hate creative for what they put Brie. Why at the last night? I thought it was 200. Sorry. I thought it was 200% cabbage. This guy could be a top guy in SmackDown needs suck guys. But they keep fucking it up given their corporate, and Paul Cruz had a great match, but nobody would know about it because they stuck it in the pre-show 10 storyline. So I got a lot of work to do creatively, but not bad for considering health in the roster. As talk to you guys next week.
She let you stick it in the pre-show?
Yeah, it's because he likes to suck guys. It was 200% cabbage. I think that's the one. Hey guys, it's Sal, and I'm calling this week to talk about Monday Night Raw. I know it's a shocker, but all is good. See the problem rather than 3-hour format. They leave a lot of room for error. So you have some really good points against some really bad, like they think that been consistently the case. But if I want to start out with, I thought the Kevin Owens Roman Reigns a match was pay-per-view quality. It has a lot of different elements in it. Obviously, it had, Set coming out and interrupting that, Foley coming out after that. But then we got restart the match. It was really, I felt like a big-time match. I think I got to give credit where credit is due. Jason is the one who first said that Roof stuff would show up and cost Reigns the match. And that's exactly what Root did. Root some did, and I think it works out perfectly because Roots of needs an apartment. An apartment. Roots of needs an apartment. For Clash of Champions, and Kevin Owens needs to go one along with what's wrong with, so I think that works out fine. Whatever Mick Foley, Warren, Seth Rollins, that they will be consequences. If he didn't appear the match, he didn't. If there's a match, if you don't want to make Mick Foley's tenure as GM a complete joke to have to be consequence, it's now the problem is one of those consequences going to be he can suspend M. He's got the Magic Class at Champion. Is it going to give him a fine of like 100 grand? I don't know, but they got to make sure that Make does follow through. I almost feel like to get ready to do a double switch that Nick is going to start turning heel while says continue to turn Fix. Glad to see what happens as far as the rest of it was kind of par for the course. One of the best things for me was with when Jack Swagger lost in Medley would reveal that his quote-unquote Rock contract was expiring because I knew that mean he would be going to Smack now. And I will talk about that at a later time, or maybe my cousin will, but I will say that I like the idea of Jack Swagger on the blueprints and anything else. I'm wrong. I like that. They made the club really ask Akers again. Let's keep that going forward, and then maybe we'll have an interesting title magic Clash of Shanty. Talk to you guys next week.
Probably there's some discussion of your hands going on in this side chat.
Do you think Adam gets manicures? No. Jackson only gets a DVD outtake. Fuck you. I'm going to put it at the end of the show. Something tells me there will be some crayon drawings on the living room wall tomorrow. I think he has clear polish on. Okay, thank you.
Hey, can you get on the Skypes, dude?
Oh, yeah, I'll put Skype on. What are you, trying to go to bed or something? Hey, how you doing? It's Tommy. I'm off the 90th, and I wanted to talk to you quickly about SmackDown. I got to tell you, I think Sue McDonald was a lot better this week. I don't want to flash. Maybe because they had just coming out of a favor of you, like I said last week. I'm going to watch the show up to the pay-per-view because that's a good one, and then the build-up going to suck. But now I like you opening segment. I like the Cena and in Ambrose kind of going out a little bit should be, I like Styles at home, but I feel like they should have made him all fucking badass in that segment. What does it all in all? It was a great segment. The triple threat is exciting. Just causes a lot of different ways they can go, and you want to make sure that it's the way that everybody wants, which is to keep the sight on Adu Styles. The other thing on SmackDown, we got them. He's trying to roll. He's refusing to defend his Inacon else. I hope we get to the extension Audrey what we does it contract. I like that aspect of it because it's a little bit real. I love the whole redo my contracting. A lot of times sports does hold out what they want to redo the contract so that he's holding out basically. And I think that's kind of cool. And I personally low Jack Swagger on SmackDown. I think this guy looked Jack Swagger won me over their nephew with a Bruce few years ago, or whatever was when he was quiet for the United States title and in yellow. We the people thing and that Anna. I think Jack Swagger get beat out that, and I think you can be used for SmackDown and you all those things, so fuck yourself up about that. I'll talk to you guys next week.
So fuck yourself up about that.
Yeah. Hey guys, it's Sal, just calling to talk about NXP and CWC NXPM. Going to be brief. We all know what happened on the NXT without having to watch it. Thank you, Troy. But I thought they did a good job of kind of swerving everybody into thinking Joe is doing some type of a FaceTime. You came out there talk about respect, and I've been at the portable human being and this Danielle thing, and then he goes and he's hospitalized Iz Nakamura and put him some stretch out right out of the area. So good on them. That cuts a lot of heat as far as the CWC goes. What we should have seen CZ Perkins as the winner from the beginning because they did a great job booking this thing. I've been at the portable human being. Okay. They booked him as the underdog from day one. On the book, Kotobuki is the favorite. So when he kicked out of that Powerball, the crowd exploded. And when Kotobuki tapped, the crowd exploded again. They set the stage by setting up the fact that No, we kicked out of that Powerball, and that Kotobuki is the favorite to win the whole tournament. And to be quite honest, the finals were almost Santa claim at say yes. Grandma the Leak was great. And I thought the match was good, but when Kotobuki lost, that's whenever you bet the stock value moment CWC. So I thought they did it very nicely. You know, sometimes you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Sometimes to be booking can be just simple. It can be ABC booking if you do it right. And I thought they did it right as far as the title goes, the title belt. I have no problem with it. I know some people on this show called it keep looking. I don't agree. I think it looks fine. It is what it is. Talk to you guys next week.
Keep looking.
Last one.
Oh, boy.
Okay, this episode of Monday Night Raw SmackDown. We're especially unexpected in joy. I'm sorry to say you're still Bobby Roode. Bye.
Wow, that did a remarkably good job. Jackson.
I even got Bobby Roode spelled completely correctly.
Really? Wow.
200% cabbage. Yeah, I'll throw those on at the end. Okay. Oops. All right, that does it for us on YouTube this week. So thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you, Sean and Puddin and Jackson and Cubit. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week.
Hopefully we'll be better next week.